On Pyongyang's TV screens, a familiar scene unfolds. A triumphant announcer, skyscrapers gleaming, cranes swinging, and soldiers-turned-builders laying bricks with pride. The message is unwavering. The nation is strong, prosperous, and advancing under the Marshal's leadership. But outside these curated images, another reality exists. One of quiet struggle, empty cupboards, and uncertainty about the next meal. Why during food shortages does state media celebrate concrete and steel over grain and rice? The answer is psychological. The regime must project strength and self-sufficiency. New apartment blocks symbolize control and a future delivered, while images of sparse meals would admit vulnerability. These broadcasts aren't about daily life. They're about constructing a national narrative of a socialist paradise, impervious to hardship. Pyongyang's new buildings, like Ryomyong and Mirai Scientist Streets, are presented as gifts from the leader, proof of his care. TV lingers on polished lobbies and smiling residents, turning the city into the main character in a state-produced drama. This focus on monumental construction is a legacy passed down from Kim Il-sung to Kim Jong-un. Each leader seeks to outdo the last, using these projects as physical manifestations of ideology. The obsession with buildings is about reinforcing the ruling family's legitimacy. Look at what we have built. We are powerful. We are eternal. The silence about food is just as deliberate, a calculated omission revealing the regime's deepest insecurities. The real story is hidden, but the spectacle is relentless. Korean Central Television immerses viewers in orchestrated optimism, praise, progress, and endless construction. Documentaries show the leader's guidance, musical performances extol the party, and news segments obsess over new buildings. What's missing? The daily struggle for food. There's no footage of bustling markets, no haggling over rice, no glimpses of family kitchens. This absence is policy, not oversight, showing it would admit the public distribution system's failure. Residents in new apartments express rehearsed gratitude, but behind the scenes, many face unreliable electricity and water. The state provides the shell of modern life. The substance, food, warmth, light, must be found through personal struggle. This creates a profound disconnect, the world on TV versus the world outside the window. North Koreans learn to applaud televised progress while surviving through the informal economy. The new buildings symbolize state power, but real survival depends on the tireless efforts of women in the marketplace. The broadcast tells of a nation built by the leader. Reality is a society sustained by uncelebrated labor. The gap between image and life is the true North Korean experience. In North Korea, construction is political theater. Each skyscraper a monument to regime strength. Huge ideology demands visible proof of self-reliance, and massive structures are the ultimate evidence. The leader is cast as master builder, architect of destiny. Unlike abstract statistics, a 70-story tower is undeniable, a concrete fact on the skyline. Pyongyang becomes a Potemkin village, designed to impress both citizens and outsiders. Speed is part of the spectacle. Masikryong speed projects are completed with revolutionary urgency. The reality, grueling labor and cut corners, but only the finished product matters. These buildings are fortresses of ideology, meant to awe and distract from systemic failures. The regime replaces the narrative of struggle with one of construction, encouraging citizens to look up, not down. The myth of a strong nation is built, slab by slab, masking the struggles below. While state TV shows polished progress, satellite images tell a different story. From space, analysts see patterns that contradict the official narrative. Pyongyang's construction boom is real, but outside the capital, images reveal aging infrastructure and neglect. The country is two-tiered, a showcase capital and struggling provinces. Satellite data also tracks crop health, revealing food shortages and fallow fields. The growth of informal markets, visible from above, signals the failure of state distribution. Satellite imagery exposes the regime's priorities: luxury projects and military sites over agriculture. Resources flow to prestige and power, not people's needs. The view from above is a stark counterpoint to state TV, revealing inequality and skewed priorities. The truth is written in the landscape, not the broadcast. In North Korea's media, what isn't shown is as telling as what is. The near-total ban on realistic food scenes is a political act. Food is the ultimate test of government legitimacy. Admitting hunger would shatter the image of a benevolent, self-sufficient state. The trauma of the 1990s famine lingers. The regime avoids any reminder of that failure. Instead, state media shows bountiful harvests and smiling workers. Propaganda posters come to life. The reality of crop failures and outdated farming is never shown. This creates a surreal paradox. The state demands loyalty, but ignores daily struggle. People must perform public enthusiasm while privately hustling to feed their families. The forbidden image of the empty plate haunts the official narrative. The disconnect is profound, celebrating water parks while mothers make soup from wild grasses. The silence on food is a silent testament to the regime's insecurity. The state's focus on grand projects erases the real story: women's resilience. Official media credits the leader, the party, and soldiers, but in reality, women are the breadwinners. Since the 1990s, women have become entrepreneurs in the Jangmadang, sustaining families while men remain tied to meaningless state jobs. Propaganda denies this, clinging to patriarchal images and ignoring the rise of grassroots capitalism. The media might show women as traffic wardens or factory workers, but never as shrewd market traders. This erasure denies women recognition for their ingenuity and burdens them with invisible labor. They earn the income, cook, clean, and raise children, often with no modern conveniences. The state's gleaming skyscrapers are built on the backs of these women, whose labor is the true foundation of society. Their story is hidden, but it is the real engine of North Korean survival. North Korea's use of monumental architecture to project power is part of a global authoritarian playbook. From Haussmann's Paris to the Soviet Union and fascist Italy, imposing buildings have always signaled state strength and permanence. These structures awe citizens, reinforce ideology, and distract from hardship. The Moscow Metro, Mussolini's projects, and today's mega skylines all serve as national branding, masking inequality and repression. The spectacle of construction is a convenient distraction from deeper problems. North Korea's strategy is not unique. It's a calculated method of control. It's easier to build a skyscraper than solve food shortages, and easier to impress with spectacle than with real well-being. Concrete and steel are tools of political theater, building a visible myth of power. To understand North Korea, we must look beyond the facade, between the concrete slabs. The triumphant images are just a cover. The real story is in the silences and omissions. The absence of market scenes and family meals reveals more than any ribbon cutting. We must ask, what was sacrificed for these buildings? What's hidden behind the spectacle? Testimonies from defectors and satellite imagery help us see the cracks in the facade. Combining human stories and technology, we get a truer, more nuanced picture. Looking beyond propaganda is an act of empathy, seeing the real people behind the forced smiles. The grand projects distract from basic human needs. By seeking what's hidden, we focus on the human reality the regime tries to conceal. Beneath North Korea's propaganda lies a fundamental truth. The real foundation is not concrete, but the unseen labor of its people, especially women. The regime builds monuments, but women in the markets build family resilience. Their daily struggle, making tofu at dawn, trading rice for medicine, stretching corn for a meal, is the real story of survival. This invisible labor keeps the country running, heroic but uncelebrated. Ignoring it is to accept the regime's fiction that only the state sustains life. Recognizing women's central role challenges the patriarchal narrative and reveals a new grassroots power. These women are not victims. They are innovators and survivors. By focusing on their experiences, we understand North Korea's true social and economic realities. The true measure of society is not in its buildings, but in how it cares for its people. In North Korea, that care comes from the bottom up, built by the tireless, invisible labor of women.